Hey guys, what's going on? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street, Bulls on Crypto Street. I want to make a video. A lot of people have been asking me, what's been happening with Bitcoin? Has it finally bottomed? Are we finally going to see like a mega run back into, the old highs? And so I want to make a video and show you kind of what I'm seeing on the charts and what we're trading in our crypto chat room. We've had just an incredible last couple weeks. With some great swing trades in LTC and ONT and EOS, and we've been getting more and more aggressive. Now let's take a look into the overall picture of the market and what's been happening. So as we know, Bitcoin topped out at $20,000, and it really just sat around in that $6,000 range pretty much all of 2018. It was boring to trade. 2017 was like the mania. We were staying up all night, drinking coffee at like 2 in the morning, just trading. And then 2018, it was like, there was nothing to do. And most of 2019, it's been even worse. Like there's been really almost no range. But one interesting that's happened, and this happens in the stock market too, is, a stock or a coin or a token, they get their power from consolidation, from basing action, and we got a lot of basing action in this kind of 3,500 to 4,000 range in Bitcoin. And lo and behold, on Friday, last week, we started to finally make a push. And what we can see here is, if you're looking at like just resistance points, right? This kind of 4,200 mark was really important in Bitcoin. It had been rejected by this level like multiple times. And one thing to remember when you're thinking about trading is the more times you test the level, the weaker it gets. Same thing that happened at the 6,000 level, right? The more times you test it, the weaker it gets, and the more importance you give that level. And so when you finally cross over it, it can actually start, a really nice run. So, we have been testing this 4,200 level for a while. And, the last couple times we tested it, you can see here the pattern was too loose. One thing to remember, like when you're thinking about, trading anything, is you want to see a really tight pattern to cause explosion. The tightness of range, the contraction of range is what can create the explosion. And so if you have too much space between where the breakout is and where your EMAs are, then you're not going to have a tight pattern, and so oftentimes they can fail. But one thing you'll notice here over the last couple months is notice how you're making like lower highs here, and as you got into the breakout, that 9 EMA curled like right up into it. And so what happens is, right, you've got even like your moving averages, which provide a level of demand and support, starting to really push. And now you got yourself a nice breakout. And the beauty of like kind of when Bitcoin breaks out like this is, we very rarely trade Bitcoin. We're going into the offshoots of some of the more volatile names to get the alpha that we need, right? Bitcoin's obviously the leader, but there's more fun in some of the alts, right? So when I see this type of breakout happening, I start leveling in to some of the other ones. So now that we have this breakout, so does this mean that, Bitcoin's bottom? No, it doesn't. It just means that we've been in a really nice range for a long period of time, and we still have that powerful, 6,000 level to come up with. But on a short-term basis, there are a lot of healthy things happening. First of all, we got over that 4,250. Then we also broke over the 200 SMA, which signifies your long-term trend. And we haven't been over the 200 SMA really since March of last year. So it's been 12 months that we have not been over our 200 SMA. Moving averages, guys, serve two purposes. Number one is they can provide areas of support and resistance, or ways to measure supply and demand. But the other thing that moving average can do is it helps you identify trends on particular time frames. So your 200 SMA is how you identify the trend on the long-term time frame, and you use the slope for that. So as the 200 SMA is starting to flatten out, right, it's telling you, okay, that the long-term trend is finally starting to even out. And now that we broke over it, we've got this beautiful level of support that we can now build a pattern on. And so a 1 day or 2 day pop doesn't make a trend. It doesn't really make anything, but it is a welcome sight, right? But 2 days does not make a trend, but it's the start of something. We all got to start somewhere in trading and in life, and Bitcoin's got to start somewhere too. And we've done some positive things with that break here, the break over here, and now we're starting to hold here. And so what I need to see is, right, now we got ourselves a higher high, and if this first dip holds, we'll have a higher low. Now, if we can re-break out these highs, then I think that's when, you know, we could get into this 6,000 range and get another push, and then we'll have to see what happens, right? We've got this big resistance point coming overhead, and there's a lot of technical damage and psychological damage. Gosh, I feel like I got trading PTSD sometimes looking at the price of Bitcoin. So there's technical and psychological damage there, but if we can come out of the zone that we're in, we'll have a chance to attack that 6,000 zone, and from there, we'll be able to really get a gauge of what's going to happen the rest of the year with Bitcoin. So is the downtrend over? It's inconclusive, but it could be the start of something. We're seeing positive things show up, not just in Bitcoin, but also in Ethereum. You're starting to see, right? Ethereum also had a very key level that it's kind of at right now. And so we can kind of break and hold over that. And you can see like the major moving averages are starting to curl up under it. It's productive. It's constructive. And frankly, I'm a buyer around here. Like as this flag starts to form, if we can hold over this 150, I'm a buyer in Ethereum on dips and stuff for the potential for a breakout. And Ethereum doesn't have, you know, it doesn't have really any major resistance till kind of more of this zone. So, you know, I would say like 200. So we've got just a look, you know, we still got some good upside in this, you know, potentially. One thing to remember, guys, about some of you guys that have been with me a long time, you guys trade the stock market, cryptocurrency, when it's hot is amazing to trade, and when it's not, it's the worst. But when it's hot, you have a lot of advantages. Number one, you can trade it with a small account, right? Most of these cryptocurrency exchanges / brokers don't require like big deposits. You can put in $500, $1,000, which is pretty cool. The other portion is range, right? In the stock market, very rarely do you see something go from like 140 to say 180 in 2 days, right? Or like, you know, we were in this LTC trade, and I'm going to make a video on some of these. This thing went from 61 to 100 in just a couple days, right? So you don't see that type of action in the stock market. But the other aspect of cryptocurrencies, when it's just sitting around, there's almost nothing to do. Where like in the stock market, you know, every day, because you just have so many stocks, there's stuff to trade. And cryptocurrency is not always like that. But when the market gets hot, it is amazing to grow small accounts because there's no PDT, no pattern day trade rule. You can open with a smaller account, and then you have the volatility. So, you know, is it something you just completely focus in on for like your whole trading career? No, it's an offshoot of just trading in general. I want to go where the trends are and where the money is at. And if it's in cryptos, if it's in stocks, if it's in futures, if it's in selling bananas, I want to be in it. But I'm going to make a couple videos on some of the trading patterns that we've been using, which will be up this weekend. But wanted to just kind of give you an idea of what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. I do think this is the kind of the beginning of something. It's not conclusive yet, but I see some signs. And so I'm a buyer on patterns and setups that, you know, we trade in our boot camp classes. And, you know, I've been kind of loading up on some things, and so I'm excited. Hopefully we get a dip in the next day or two, and I'll be adding some other positions, so stay tuned. Take care, guys. And as always, you know, feel free to leave me any comments or questions. I love hearing from you guys. You know, my emails, kunal@bullson.ws. If you have any questions, just hit me up. Take care.